Hi, and welcome to another Destiny Success Incorporated presentation. And today we are looking at video number 1. Are you financially secure? And these are the 6 areas that may be affecting you right now. And this is a presentation from the website www.millionairesinmotion.net. Now, we all have a paradigm today that we're all living in, and most people don't even realize that this paradigm is what is governing them. We are in a new economy. And in spite of the many strange piecemeal definitions, the truth remains elusive. Now, the truth remains hidden by the old lie and paradigm, which is that you go to school, you get a job, you borrow for all your luxuries, you work hard, save, retire on a pension. Now, I want you guys to wake up, because this is the biggest lie that's being pushed around. Listen, the greatest asset that you have today is information and time. These two will guide you and place you ahead of the curve. Now, timing and execution is of the utmost importance even as you run with this. So let's look at the 6 areas. Let's start with money. Now, in the old economy, savings worked. Okay, money has real value back then because it was backed by gold. But unfortunately, in the new economy now, it has totally changed. Debt rules and works, and money has no real value anymore. It is fiat. What does that mean in simple English? It means that today, the money that you have has no value. Money is as strong as the governments that back it up. It's as strong as the people that back it up. So you do realize that in the old days, actually the money that you held was actually totally in connection with what the governments owned in terms of gold, in terms of silver, in terms of real economic value. But today, that's a very unfortunate situation, because now it's all about fiat. It's all about the fact that the money is in essence just a piece of paper. Now, here's the deal. If you're gonna save money as cash, you're in for a rude shock, because when the time finally comes and you want to use that money, it's totally useless. I know this is a true story with all those that actually have saved money in some kind of pension fund or in some insurance fund, because at the end of the day, when it really mattered, they discovered that that money actually was totally valueless. Now, the second area we're going to look at is age. Okay, in the old economy, age was an asset. You know, you were old, you were wise, and obviously you were able to give a lot. In fact, a lot of places requested for experience as part of what they were looking for. But that's all changed, my friends, because in the new economy, age is actually a liability. When you're old, you're obsolete, and that kind of reminds me of this disc over here, because as you can see for yourself, that disc is obsolete now. Just 15 years ago, we were using diskettes. 2 MB was a big deal. 1 gig was unheard of. But today, my friends, we're talking terabytes. We're now talking about 1,000, 1 million times more than an MB. It's amazing how much technology moves forward, and as a result, age becomes a liability in this new economy. Now, we look at education. Now, this is going to be really sad, because I believe in education big time. I'm one that believes that education is the key that's going to help a lot of people out there in the future. But now listen to this. In the old economy, it was different. You see, education was important. Why? Because obviously it gave you an edge over others. Education ensured that you had a chance at life. You were able to get jobs, and things were worked out. I'm sure you all remember back in the 70s that an accountant in Africa would be able to get a person to hold a vehicle, would get a servant, and would get a big 3-bedroom house in some nice neighborhood. Those were the conditions just to be a full degree accountant. Today, my friend, education is changing completely. In the new economy, technological changes are at breakneck speed, and that means a lot of the stuff you're learning right now is going to be obsolete before you leave college. That's how crazy it is. And the worst part of it is that this is now what's going on, and this means that for many people, higher education is common. Everybody is doing higher education, and remember the law of supply and demand. If there's more people doing something, that means there's less likelihood of being paid for it. And like that picture shows you there, debt is the new way to go. A lot of kids are living a high school with debts in the tens of thousands, and this is obviously becoming a big challenge for them when they go out into the real world. But I know that this is a way for the system to keep you held down. Now, returns are also diminished in terms of cost versus returns. Why? Because the amount you spend on education is way higher than the benefits you get. I mean, how many kids today are walking around without any jobs? How many PhD holders are in the streets? There's so many. So what I'm saying is, get an education, well and good, but don't use an education as the only guarantee for you to come out of where you are. The times have changed and things have changed. High paying jobs. Now, the thing about this is that in the old economy, they were plentiful, even in factories. And not only that, you had a lifetime pension. I'm sure you all remember the mines and the different workplaces, especially the parastatals, where you would join and literally be guaranteed a lifetime of chilling and relaxing because the government would be able to take care of you through their massive pension schemes. And these jobs were guaranteed and available. They were open, they were there throughout the time. And you were guaranteed that you'd be able to go through. So at the end of the day, even when you left school, you were sure that things were going to work out. You were sure that there were going to be openings for you. But in the new economy, my friends, that's totally changed. Factories are now overseas, and I'm sure you recognize those are Chinese and Koreans and Japanese, and everything's gone to the east now. And that means that a lot of people have become obsolete. A lot of individuals that are professionals are finding themselves in the streets like that guy there with nothing to hold on to. And technology is eliminating jobs left, right, and center, my friends, because what's going on today is that many of the things that were paid for in the past can now be done by technology. Great example I can think of is one seed producing company today that now was able to fully automate their process and get rid of 1,000 jobs. Can you imagine that? Because the 1,000 jobs can be done by machines. And this has great implications, my brothers and sisters listening, because this means that for people like you and me, there are just no jobs anymore. And you got to be thinking seriously about this. And those of you that are on high-paying jobs, you are targeted for elimination by technology, because the companies realize they are losing a lot of money by paying you for those jobs and paying you that salary. So what can be gotten rid of will be gotten rid of. Good examples. In certain parts of Japan, they now have automatic teller checkout machines at the typical shopping place. For example, ShopRite is a typical example, Pick and Pay. And now they have machines to do the checkout instead of people. Now, can you imagine what that implies in terms of losses of job, in terms of losses of income, in terms of losses of business for those who depend on living off those telling machines? But I can tell you, technology changes things, and that means you and I have got to be sharp and looking out. So techie produces more for less, and obviously that means profits for the owners of the company. And that's what they're really interested in. Now we talk about taxes. In the old economy, taxes, people paid their taxes, okay? And there was no way of getting away from the tax man. And not only that, the tax man had the ability to get every coin out of you so that they were able to make a deal out of it. But in the new economy, things are changing. Workers are taxed the most. So if you're a blue-collar worker, a white-collar worker on a salary of some sort, you will always pay the most taxes. Amazingly, businesses and business owners are taxed the least. Why? Because they are allowed to spend their money first and then to pay tax on the profit. But you as a worker, you get to pay first and then spend afterwards. So it's always a raw deal for those that work compared to those that own businesses. Now, retirement. This is another one that's a sad story. Look, in the old economy, here's what happened. They promised you a life of greatness. In fact, that's what really it was. Your nest egg covered you, okay? Your pensions were guaranteed because there was enough money to go around, and a lifetime obligation was there by the companies that you worked for, or perhaps even by the government or whoever, to take care of you. But listen, guys, the welfare service was also great back in the day, but today that has totally changed, because what's going on today, and I'm sure most of you can testify and witness, is that this is what's going on. Soup lines, people lining up and queuing up for their pensions. And most times what is so sad is that people are not even getting their money. And you know what's going on today now? The companies have decided that instead of keeping massive pensions somewhere, they're going to put that in the hands of the workers. So a lot of people in the private sector are being implored to do their own retirement packages. Countries that still have national provident funds of some sort, those are changing because the governments are mishandling this. In fact, America is a great example. They have wiped out millions of dollars leaving retirees penniless because they failed to take care of their Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae facilities. They failed to take care of the 401k retirement plans because they spent it all. America is in the trillions of dollars in terms of debt as I speak to you right now as we teach this video. And that is a scary thought. Now, if the great mighty United States of America is failing to take care of its retirees, what of us over here in Africa who even depend on countries like the United States for aid? Can you imagine the implications for you when you get to your pension and realize that you've not done anything about it? So these are very serious issues. The debt crisis is here for a while, and I can tell you this debt crisis will keep growing and growing, and so many people are being forced back to work. Why? Because they have no way of surviving. It has put them in a very great dilemma, and they are forced to work. Two economies. Now, there are basically two economies out there, ladies and gentlemen, and you've got to realize that there's an old economy where workers and employees basically run the deal and they are hurting and suffering. Why? Because they are the ones that are dependent on all these systems that have been set up. Listen, between you and me, my brothers, these systems are set up for two types of people. They're set up for the workers and employees, and they're set up for the business owners. And the workers and employees have got no financial education. What do I mean by that? I'm not talking about an accounts degree, my friend. I'm talking about IQ. I'm talking about the ability to understand how money works and how best to exploit it and how best to put it to good use. Now, those who are in the new economy are business owners and investors. These are people that are enjoying, these are people that are living well, they're thriving, and not only that, they invest in financial education all the time, and increase their educational IQ as far as finances are concerned, and as a result, these guys never lose out. Why? Because they're able to move with the trends. They're able to realize that the economy is set up to exploit workers and employees. And I'm sorry to say this, if you're a worker, if you're an employee in some secure company somewhere, let me tell you today more than ever, everybody knows that job security is a joke. If you're watching this video, if you've gotten this far, it means you already know that for most people, they're never really going to see the greatness that they expect to see from their jobs. So that means you got to be sharp. That means you got to be getting into business. You got to be able to do something about it. So this is why we're giving you this wake up call. We are saying you already possess two of the greatest assets. The first one is information. What I'm going to be giving you over the next couple of days in the 4 videos are designed to give you information so that you're able to understand. And the other asset you have is time. That means if you can put your time to use right now, and if you're smart enough, this new shift, the big change which has taken place, is not going to catch you unawares. You're going to be able to move with that, and you're going to be able to see yourself survive. You're going to see yourself thrive. You're going to see yourself succeed. So the secret here lies actually in how sharp you are and how fast you are at being able to take advantage of these changes. Now, these remaining behind, they'll become casualties of the time. They will be casualties of change. They will be at the accidents and emergencies entry section of the hospital. Why? Because they will realize that they have been shortchanged. Now, my friends, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing the same way and expecting different results. We cannot keep believing that jobs will be here. We cannot keep believing that things are not going to change. My friends, if there's one thing that you can be assured of that is constant, it's change. Change comes all the time. And that's why you must always be wise and keeping up with the trends of the day and finding out what's going on. And when you do that, then you will see yourself succeed. Listen, change is constant. It remains in a state of being. Okay? And that has great implications, right? Furthermore, it is inevitable. You cannot avoid change, okay? Progress is always optional, but change is inevitable. And not only that, it is dynamic. It is always evolving. So what is true today may not be true in the next 2-3 days. It may not be true in the next 2-3 years. It is always changing. It's always moving from one level to another. So change is coming, my friends. And this means that people like you and me have got to decide whether we're a victim or a victor. You have two choices. If you're a victim, it means you're always going to be messed up. You hope things will just go away. You hope that when it happens, it will be someone else, not you. Or become a victor. Okay, now being a victor means being proactive, anticipating and planning. That means you know something is going to change and you put plans in place to cover it, and you should be ready to do what is necessary when those changes come, and be prepared to take the necessary steps to success. Now, there's a revolution coming. And listen, my friend, are you willing to be proactive? Are you willing to do what's necessary to bring about change? Do you have the opportunity to do so? If you do, then you are going to see that change coming. So look out for video number 2, which will come through soon. Monday, 26th of August, 7 in the morning, will be downloaded straight to your inbox, and you can be able to access it by going and watching it directly there. We are doing all this in readiness for the Millionaires in the Making 90-day challenge events that are going to be taking place in Bulawayo on Wednesday, the 11th of September, and in Harare on Monday, the 16th of September. Now, for your information, guys, the Bulawayo event is actually 4 days long. So the 11th of September is the opening day where we start everything going, and it's going to run Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of that same month. And then we're going to move on to Harare, where we will now run from Monday and Tuesday. So 2 days in Harare and 4 days in Bulawayo. I'm looking forward to see all of you there. Look out for video number 2. You have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll speak to you again.